Is that Facebook too?
Yeah.
I need to mute my phone.
Yes, you do.
It's been a minute since we've done a live, but that has been my mistake.
It's only been like 30 days, give or take.
Lies.
We did one last month.
Really? No.
We didn't do one for June?
No.
I swear I thought we did. Why we didn't do one for June?
Because you don't like to do lives.
No, that's true.
I would do them like every other weekend.
Kind of different from like doing a video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do short content and I have a job now, so I'd be working.
I've been working.
Okay, well, I'd be working too.
What's going on, Nikki? How are you doing this fabulous Sunday or Saturday? Hot day.
He's lost. In his defense, he was out in the heat mowing so we could get some fencing set up for our sheep.
Ooh, man. Trying to cool down a little bit.
Oh, I see we got 4 people here. All right, cool.
So today it's going to be an interesting topic. Yeah, I know, right? We are going to be talking about compost. We get a lot of people that asking us about compost.
Hey, Corey.
What's going on, Corey? And people kind of get hesitant about it and kind of sketchy about doing compost because people think it's a lot that you have to deal with, but it's actually pretty easy.
I really think that it's just about creating a habit and ignoring all of the negative commentary about it. There's so many people out there that think that their way is the only way. Anybody that comes at you with advice saying you're not doing this right, that's exactly when you need to step away. Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about different types of composting that people can do, whether you're in a large space, small space, not a space at all, and doing some troubleshooting and answering some questions about composting and my ways.
yeah, you know those. Oh, so you one of them people?
So
I doubt that.
We're going to jump right into it. Let's see, we got about 5 people in here. Hopefully everybody can hear us.
As we wait for people to come in, I'll just tell a quick little story because I just got back from Hawaii, and one of my daughter's roommates, he is really into gardening in the small space house that they're in. Which they can grow a lot out there that's really cool. But apparently soil is very expensive out there. So I was showing them while I was there the little things that they could do in their small space to start creating their own compost and even worm castings.
Cool. And so I guess while we have a little bit more time, wait for more folks to get in for the next few minutes, do you want to tell everybody about your Hawaii experience?
Oh my God. I don't want to make anybody jealous, but I just have to say that I am so proud that my daughter, she's a tattoo artist out there in Hawaii. And I do brag about that because this is the child that I didn't get along with, right?
Yeah.
This is the one that gave me every gray hair. But we're super, super tight, super cool now. She surprised me with tickets. I went out there. She spoiled me. She wouldn't let me spend money. She just and she wants to have me out there quarterly. It was for my birthday. What he did for my birthday was take care of everything while I was gone. So I do thank you for that. But it was for my birthday.
Yeah.
I had a really great time. I made a point, and she knows she loves what we do on our farm. Not only with the garden, the composting. When we started doing that, my kids were old enough that they think it's really cool what we're doing, because we're recycling, we're doing stuff in an organic way, and I guess that's hip now or something. Mm-hmm. But they're old enough to think that was cool. So she took me on a lot of to a lot of places that were agro-touristic kind of stuff, because she knows that that's something that we are getting into for our farm, not only just like on the gardening side, we are creating a space to have an experience for visitors. Again, not just on the garden side, the animal side. And so she took me to this amazing sunflower farm that had like animals. There were goats and lambs with turtles. Like it was kind of interesting. And then some waterfalls and some farmers markets. It was really cool.
Yes, Nikki, it will get better.
Yes, and I will tell you, like when my youngest left the nest and was finally in her own apartment, I felt 10 years younger. Like it was like overnight, immediately feeling younger. And then I just keep feeling younger as we get into our roles as students. Like we like to, even though we forget sometimes how much we've learned because we've kind of embraced what we're doing as students, and sometimes we forget how much we know to share. So that's kind of like, what was that?
Oh, G-Mama came in and stuff. So
okay.
I was saying, doing my little salute. I try if somebody's talking. I normally, since I was in the military, I normally do a salute.
That's a good explanation.
As people come in, so I don't break the person, whoever's talking, their train of thought, because I know with my OCD ways or ADD way, I'll lose train of thought.
ADHD, for sure.
Anywho, see, just like that. So, so we're going to talk about compost. Like I said, there's different types of compost. There's hot compost where you're doing actively turning compost. There's cold compost where you basically lay all your organic matter in a particular pile, hopefully by 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet high compost pile, and just let it slowly deteriorate or decompose.
That's been your go-to.
Well, this year, because we just have so much
every year.
It's so much stuff going on right now. But when we were in the Dallas area, I was turning at least once a week over there.
Because we were in a smaller space. You have to be more intentional. When it comes to composting, you do have to be a lot more intentional with the smaller spaces that you're working with.
Yeah. And there's also, you could get your Vermicompost, which I just fell in love with. Is basically using composting worms to break down your organic matter, your food waste, your green waste that you possibly have in your kitchen. And then you can use that into either as a soil amendment or top dressing, or even as a compost tea. There's also leaf mode. I mean, some people even go to, like, if you're doing off-grid, they do, they call it.
Their bathroom stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not against it. I haven't had to do it.
Yeah.
Not going to.
No, our goal is never to live off-grid.
Yeah. I knew, like, when he's the one that talked me into coming out to like the farm situation. A lot of our friends think that is not the case.
No, this is all your
that's the lie he likes to tell. The lie he likes to tell. But when we came out here, it was like a culture shock for me. Yep.
So, but composting is basically breaking down organic matter into a soil amendment that you can use to improve your soil quality. I know here in Texas, we either have what we call clay or a gumbo soil. Is basically this hard, nasty type of soil that is hard to now clay soil has a lot of bad reputation. It has a lot of minerals, but the only bad thing about it just holds water. So you can add organic matter like compost, vermicompost, to help improve that soil.
We are noticing over time, like we're in our third year, 3.5 years, almost 3.5 years.
Yeah, just past our third year this past April time.
And many of you guys that are in this room, like we have, been following along and communicating even before we came to this property. So like for us, we're in that, I don't know, it's kind of a unique, starting as the Naked Gardeners, but we farm now too. We've elevated our composting intentions for our property. We've actually selected animals very intentionally for like
to help improve our soil.
Our soil, yeah, like the sheep have been like gold because it's cold compost manure immediately, like
cold manure.
Yeah, I guess that's what it's called. Yeah, cold manure, which is something you can take immediately and put into your garden and it won't burn it, unlike other things. Now, we would have never known that had we not gotten to this point of raising animals, right?
Along with rabbits. Rabbits is another cold manure. Llamas, alpacas are most ruminant animals are able to where you could put their manure directly onto your soil without having any type of E. coli or stuff that basically.
But those other animals are ones that you would want to put into a pile, a compost like addition, right? To like, because we do both things. Not only do we have that going on in the field, but we also have our compost piles out there daily. Like I have a little container on our kitchen table, and I'm adding my coffee grounds that I make for myself every day into it. I'm putting eggshells into it. I'm putting food scraps that I'm not going to use for bone broth. I make sure that like the onions and the jalapenos and stuff like that make it into a freezer bag that I use when I make my
broth.
Yeah, my broth.
So with a lot of people will say don't add particular items into your compost. I'm all for about let nature do its course. We will do dead animals. Once we have a brooder, we will have we'll take our brooder out and the shaving stuff with their poops and all that mess. We'll put it in the compost. Our food waste. Well, now that we have pigs, we'll either give it to the worms or to the pigs. So we will always try to do a circle life. And like I said, we're just me and her. We're empty nesters, so we don't have any child laborers or any kids. So we don't really have that much waste per se, but we still make a lot of compost for just the animal byproducts and the resources that we have.
And now that we have pigs, a lot of the animal byproducts are making it to them right now and not so much into the compost.
Yeah, so llamas and alpacas, besides their wool, which I don't know if people are still doing wool, that's kind of a lost art or a lost...
it is. It's a lost art.
Yeah.
That's what I would call it.
But not too many people are using their wool to purchasing it.
Honestly, what I'm seeing happening, and this was just when I was out in Hawaii, that sunflower farm I went to, that in the, I guess in the off season, it's a pumpkin farm. They have like llamas there. It's really for the agro-tourism. I have not seen anybody and you're welcome to like link anybody that's doing something financially productive with llamas outside of agro-tourism. I've only seen them as an attention getter, and we have a rule here on our farm. It has to have an animal has to have 3 jobs.
Yeah. We don't have any pets on this farm. Either you're producing meat or you are meat or you're helping with the soil.
You gotta pay some rent.
Yeah.
Here.
So
we don't play like that. Yeah.
So a lot of people will say don't do. Now I will not do like oils into our compost. We will use. We save most of our bones, meat from our bones, because we make our own bone broth. But there's some people who will even say don't do onions into your compost or into your worm bin. But one year we accidentally had onions in our worm bin, and worms were just surrounding that.
They loved it.
They loved it. Well, I don't know if they loved it. I don't speak worms, so. But
honestly, I think it's because it was organically grown in the soil that they were accustomed to.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have put a store-bought.
I don't know, but they loved it. We do
lemons too.
Yeah, lemons too. But we do what you were talking about with the grounds of you put your coffee grounds and your eggshells in there.
Starbucks will give that to you.
Yeah, most coffee shops will give that to you free, and it's great if you're doing any type of worm farming or vermicomposting. That helps with their grit, because a lot of worms don't have what they call teeth, and that just basically that grit will help them break down all their foods and grind it up and everything.
Everybody here, I want you guys to make comments below or in the comments there about what type of composting are you doing actively now, and also what you would like to learn more about, because we like for our lives to be educational. So if we can add to it, or somebody else can pick up the slack of education where we lack, I would love that.
Yeah. And for people that are watching on the replays, we try to do these once the first Saturday of each month, typically around 6. We used to do it at 7, but now
the sun.
Yeah, but we try to get out around 7:30ish to try to finish up the evening chore. So we I think 6 will be a good time slot for us. So if you're watching on the replay and you want to catch up on the next one, or if you have any future ideas for videos that you want us to do, let us know in the comments below.
I know. This year has been interesting. I don't know that we even talked about it on our last live, but Sydney and I decided that this channel, the Naked Gardening channel, would just be gardening related. Yes, we have talked about some animal stuff, but we have both created our own channels. He actually does more videos. I do more shorts, reels. That's basically all I do on my channel. For our animal husbandry, animal associated stuff. And on this channel, we're starting to just only focus on our gardening
and food type ordeals. Yeah. This is how we all started out as foodies. We started as foodies, going to different restaurants and try to recreate the whole
That's why I married him. That's why I married him. That's why we're together. We connected on a foodie thing.
Yeah, Nikki actually did a few, I think at least one video I saw of yours that you buried some kitchen scraps and stuff. That's a very perfect idea if you're in a small space, especially if you're like an apartment, you have a balcony. Bury your food scraps that will later on will break down and make a nice soil amendment and feed your plants. So
yeah, we actually have a playlist on this channel. When he was at a job in Georgia, they had him in an apartment there. So we had our backyard garden in Garland before we moved here, and then an apartment at the same time. And he was composting and growing stuff on that apartment balcony.
Yeah, and that balcony was probably like a 6x10.
And there was balcony. A lot of food that came out of that.
Oh yeah, peppers, tomatoes, all of that. Gee, Mama grows to that. I started the bokashi composting again. I can't do the funky juice because I'm in the apartment area. Yeah, I mean, there's even vermicomposting is a great way if you're in an apartment complex, because you can keep a little small container.
Black gold. Man.
Yeah, I mean, you just put it like a little small little container, throw your food scraps in there, and man, about 30 to 90 days, you got some good soil amendment.
I really believe that in small spaces, vermicomposting is the smartest way to go.
Yeah. That and just burying your food waste directly into your soil and stuff, allowing that to break down and whatnot.
The worms be working for it.
Yeah. Now, like I said, there's the two major ones are the cold compost, which is basically what we've been kind of geared off to now, since it basically takes a long time to break down, anywhere from 9 months to 12 months. But after that time frame, you can use it as a soil amendment or a top dressing, and it could be as a mulch, or you can even make compost tea with it. Very low maintenance, very low things that you have to deal with it. With hot compost, you're going to have to work with that, and I'm getting up in age where I can't do that like I used to do.
Well, we also have the space that allows us for that now. And just being empty nesters, the space that we have, the property that we have, it just works for us because we don't have an excessive amount, and we have the patience. And you're still vermicompost? Like, you still have like your
Yeah, I still got my worms. I did a little oopsie daisy. I bought some worms in my bin.
Oh.
Let me tell my story. I bought
Tell
some
your lie.
Whatever. I bought some worms and I wasn't ready for it just yet. So I had it on the table in the living room. And then I was like, it's been day 2. I was like, oh, let me open it just a little bit. Here come day 4. I was like, all right, I'm ready to use it. And I looked on the ground. It was like dry worms all over the floor. I was like, oh, man.
Okay.
So I just saved what I had left, and then I put it in there. I'm going to eventually have to make some more. But
okay, can I tell my truth?
Oh, here goes your truth.
Okay, so my truth is that he always says I have dementia. No, he forgot. He forgot about those worms, acting like he was like checking everything. No, you forgot that the worms were there.
No.
We had a lot of stuff going on. And then like the day before I left for Hawaii, like this was the day before I left for Hawaii, like he went out there, he was like, oh no. And there was like worms dried up all over the floor. I had to clean up. I should have left that for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the Verma Hut, that's a great for small spaces.
Ooh, yeah.
I've seen a lot of people use those. I've just used a regular little tote bin, and I keep a black plastic on top of it with the cardboard outlining of the opening of it. And it does wonders for that. I don't keep a lid on it or anything, and I alternate feeding periods.
Isn't there like a plastic bag you put too, so that there's condensation?
Yeah, so I just make sure the soil just stays nice and moist and stuff like that.
That is a really great trick that I see, that he always has that plastic bag for the condensation, because like just with the dementia, like remembering to moisture, like
yeah. So what are some of the questions y'all might have for composting, and we'll try to answer them while we're going through our spill there, especially for those that's on the replay and stuff. When I first started composting, I was very hesitant. I didn't know what I was going to be doing, but then I forgot who I was watching, and they just basically gave me these. If you don't learn anything from this video, is learn this. For troubleshooting, if your compost is not hot, and you definitely, if you're doing a big compost, you make sure you want to get you a good compost thermometer.
One of those long stick ones. Yeah.
At least 3 feet or longer. If your compost is not heating up, add some more green. If your compost is smelly, add some more carbon. What I've learned is sawdust and cardboard are the best carbons to add to get rid of that smell and kind of hide the.
In our experience, does hay work the same?
Hay does. However, with hay, you got to make sure you don't have any seeds in there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But the most of the times where we heat up our well, I wouldn't say we heat up, but the way we have our setup is our compost gets so hot. After your compost get above like 145 or higher, it kills all of the pathogens in there, the weed seeds and whatnot. And if you add more moisture and turning it, adding more air into it, I mean, that compost, there's people that have been doing compost and within 18 days, nice, dark, rich compost within 18 days.
Very intentional compost.
But you got to be very active.
Like OCD about that.
Yeah.
Like our life does not line up with hot composting. It does not.
Not anymore. We got way too many animals and things to do.
Oh, that's so sweet, Corey. I really appreciate that. We are just trying to stay young, learning, being students.
So, okay, to control your moisture, what are you adding to your Verma Hut? One thing we used to do when we were in back in the Garland areas, we'll take our, because we wasn't doing bone broth or anything, we would take our frozen, our food waste, and we will freeze it. And then when it's time to feed the worms, we'll put it in there so that
we
way.
never add water. It's always from the vegetables.
Yeah. So once
from the freezer,
once it defrosts, that moisture from the vegetables or whatever the food waste is will add the moisture to that. And then that plastic on top of there, that helps keep that condensation down. Now, if you have, if I'm not mistaken,
are you adding water?
Let me see what the Vermihut.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with one of them. So, like, we might be giving you bad advice because we're talking from our standpoint of how hot Texas is.
So it's that stackable bin.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So on that, you also want to make sure you want to add enough. You probably don't have enough carbon. If it smells or if it's a little bit too wet, add some more carbon to that and turn it. Oh, well, I'm not sure if you could turn that.
How often are you adding water? Because that may be another thing. Like, we never add water. We just put like scraps in a freezer bag, and then that's the only like water condensation that it ever gets when we add that.
Yeah. So I know you get a lot of Amazon things. You can shred, if you have a good shredder, shred up those boxes. That cardboard from those boxes will add take some of that moisture away. And then for like 1 week or 2 weeks, don't add any moisture. Just let your scraps from the moisture from your scraps basically be added to there naturally, and see how that turns out.
Yeah, a lot of the scraps have moisture like in it, and it doesn't like really come out until like it's in that like hot element, and it'll come out naturally. So you may want to back off on watering it and then kind of monitor it from there.
How many bins does yours stack high? That's another good question.
Yeah, because that would affect it too.
Yeah. Every feeding I'm adding water, I try to freeze and every feeding I'm adding water, I'll try freezing them things. Okay. And how often are you feeding? How many worms did you start off with?
I'm guessing that you're kind of like in a pivoting situation where you're kind of like learning and figuring out. And every season's going to be different too. Here we are in the hottest time of the year. So there's maybe an idea that, it needs, like more water because of the heat. And maybe you might be kind of like pivoting, trying to figure out, like actually how much water it needs. Maybe back off on that. Like, just don't put any water and just kind of assess, like put your finger like up to your knuckle, like every once in a while, just like we do with soil when we're checking to see if something actually needs to be watered. Maybe start doing that method with that.
Yeah. Because I typically don't, excuse me, I typically don't feed my worms once a week. I try to do it once every 2 weeks. And the worms will regulate their self from that, depending on their size, the bin that you have them in. They will either populate or keep the population at a particular level, and then they will eat their body weight per week. So I kind of just allow them to do their own thing with that by doing it once every 2 weeks. And I started off with the red wigglers, but I figured I saw that the red wigglers were not my forte because they was always escaping. So I eventually went into the European night crawlers, which are perfect for our Texas weather because they are able to either deal with the heat and the minimum of cold that we have sometimes as well. And I was keeping them in our shop. Right now they're in our garage or outside, which I need to put them in our shop because it's getting way too hot. I tried adding more paper, but it's messy. I have four layer bins. Okay.
Maybe sawdust.
Yeah.
If you can get some.
Well, the only thing with sawdust is with the treated wood and things of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you would have to be careful.
But definitely the cardboard. I would definitely try the cardboard in there. Paper. Um, you could do
Cardboard
that.
is
Cardboard,
really
cardboard,
good.
and
Yeah.
sawdust are the main ones. My time has been thrown off, but feed according to my plant waste, which I can do every 3 days. Okay, that might be a little what? Oh, what plant waste? Okay, so like when you're dead plant leaves
That's
and
still
stuff
a
like
bit
that.
much. Like, and that's a lot.
Yeah,
You may
and
have
depending on how many worms you have as well.
Yeah, that factors in, and the size of the garden too. Like,
yeah, definitely try the freezing. That way you don't have to add the moisture in there.
yeah, that way you can kind of stave off and kind of control, like, and add as needed. It would probably be good to kind of pull back, freeze some stuff, monitor, and just start checking for that moisture. Like, just pull back a little bit.
Yeah. Leaf mold is another good composting thing or that you can do. This fall, you can start driving around your neighborhood and collecting a lot of the leaves. Once again, it's a cold, slow process. It's anywhere from 9 months to 15 months before you can use it. But it is a great source, especially if you have a perennial bed. Leaf mold is great for perennial plants because what it is all that trees from the deep taproot that particular tree might have is taking up all the nutrients and the minerals from deep in the soil and bringing it up to the leaves, and then the leaves just drop down. So I would definitely try that out. What's another good composting?
Well, I was just going to add on to, you were talking about the leaves. I know, I think a lot of us have been kind of like indoctrinated into this idea that leaves are bad and we need to rake them up.
Yeah.
We only do that for the leaf compost, but one of the best things that we've ever done is let leaves do what they do and just be where they're at and feed the soil.
Yeah, some people get all hissy fits about don't rake up the leaves because the worms need it and all this. I'm like, hey, I gotta farm your own farm. I'll farm mine.
Yeah, mind your own. But like even like on a small like residential area, a lot of people are real like, but it is what like soil needs leaves.
Another way you could do vermicomposting of what I've done in the past, and which I need to do another video about, is having a worm bin into your garden. Is basically you take a 5-gallon bucket, put about 1/2-inch holes all through that, add your food waste in there, cover it up with some carbon, and then wet it down, and that allows the worms or other biodegradable insects to go inside that bucket, eat what they need to eat, leave poop, and throughout your garden bed and stuff like that. That has worked wonders. We did 4 beds, one with a regular garden bed, one with a hugelkultur bed, a worm bin, and a compost bed. And that worm bin with the worm towers would outperform everybody, or not everybody, all the beds from when we did the pH level and the NPK level.
This is us just being students. Like, that is something that we've had in common. Just remaining students and like experimenting, like in our earliest stages. And we learned a lot. Just we didn't go into this as like, we're growing all of our food. We went into this as, being foodies. Maybe we'll have some stuff that we can add to our plates. But let's figure out like what works, because there's so many opinions, like so many, like I was saying earlier, like there's so many people, this way is the right way. So being the stubborn people we are, we're like, is it? Like, let's check it out.
Yeah, this trial and error is the main thing. For those that are watching on the replay, people that are watching currently right now, how many years have y'all been gardening and how many years have y'all been composting? Let us know in the comments below, because with us, we've been gardening
2018
since
17.
Yeah, about 2018.
Well, when we were dating, I was doing like herbs on my balcony.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing
like
herb, but
stuff.
like what we started doing, like garden beds and containers and stuff like that, was about the end of 2018. And then I did the following year, I started doing composting. And I started with vermicompost and that didn't work. So I did regular compost and that took off like great. So then I got back into vermicomposting by just doing different trials and errors.
You
and stuff like
decided
that.
to dig your heels in.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you just gotta.
You have to be stubborn too.
Yeah.
Just don't take your failure and think, "Oh, I have a brown thumb because something failed." Like, just dig your heels in. Be stubborn.
Yeah. So, I think that's really all.
Those are the big things that we wanted to chat about on like actual, composting, because it is. I'll be honest. Like, if he hadn't taken the lead to be like the experimenter on composting, that wasn't something that I was just going to jump into and do, because it's an intimidating subject.
Yeah.
Honestly, especially when you come across people that do the my ways the right way stuff.
Okay, more numbers. Early 90s, then 4-year composting.
Cool.
What type of composting do you do? G Mama said 6 years gardening and 5 years composting, and we know that you do the vermicomposting. I've been gardening for 4 years. I have a compost bed, and I've been using half in the spring and half in the fall. That's what I used to do when we were out in Garland. Like I said, we had I wouldn't say we had so much compost, but during the in-between seasons, I would take that compost, I would sift it out, forget all the unfinished, broken down particles and pieces out of that compost, and I would just put that back into the compost, and the stuff that I sifted, I would do as a top dressing, or I will make compost tea with it. And oh my goodness, our garden has just taken over. Even with this garden bed, this garden that we have now, for the first 2 years,
this is the craziest.
We've been adding compost and vermicompost teas and stuff like that. This year, I don't think we
have not had time because I went back to work. You've been busy.
But we haven't even really fertilized our garden. And it's like, I mean, besides the weeds and the grass that's been
I don't think he realized like how much I weed. I was gone that week in Hawaii. I came back to a jungle. Like, I'm literally scared of the garden right now. He does not. You don't realize like how much I actually was weeding. No. I came back to a jungle, and I'm like, you need to help me weed this.
Well, congratulations, Nicole, on the vermicomposting. Cool. More numbers said grass, quail poop, chicken scraps, dead perennial leaves, some paper, composting, the lazy way.
That's what works for us now with our schedule.
Yeah. So I mean, it's fun, it's interesting. At first it gets a little bit frustrating, but after you learn, hey, my compost kind of stink, I need to add some more carbon to that. Hey, my compost not heating up, time to add some more green waste into there. And you'll find out which elements that you need to add into your compost. The more different types of how you diversify putting inputs into your compost, the better. It will have a lot of minerals and macronutrients and micronutrients into that. So that way, when you use it, it would just make your plant that much better.
Coming to our farm, something that, and I've thought about this because a lot of people, because we're also raising animals. We have, like a whole other thing that we're doing outside of like the garden and composting. But in our situation, like raising a lot of, like we have some baby ducks over here behind us. I just put shavings in there. I feel so good about the fact that none of that is going to go to waste. It goes into our compost. And there's a lot of people that raise animals that do not have gardens and do not compost. I would feel like I was wasting if I didn't find a use. Like, so we have a use for all of our stuff.
Yeah. So those pine shavings are going to be your carbon. The animal poop that it is used as bedding for is just basically a circle of life. and it helps that carbon eats up that nitrogen, and it's gonna be amazing.
Dwight. Hey, Dwight.
Hey, Dwight, what's going on?
I'm so glad you got to see us. That's so cool.
Yes, straw and pine shavings. Yes, you can use that. Quail poop you can treat it like chicken poop. Raising quails I would say raising quails and rabbits are great for small spaces if you live in apartments and stuff, because they don't make, I think I forgot what the male quails are called. I think they're called bucks, or
that's a rabbit.
No, but they're called yeah. But
I don't know.
Let me look at it. But I think the male quails.
If you know, put it in the comments below. He's looking it up.
But the male quails, I think I've just learned this, makes the noise.
Oh yeah, I did hear that it's the males.
Yeah.
That are noisy.
No. So the
they're cocks.
Male quails are called cocks. Okay.
Okay. So I'm just male quail.
Didn't know that. I thought they were called bucks or something, but anyway. Yes, quail poop needs to compost just like with the chickens. Now, poultry poop has a high nitrogen, which surprised me that it has more nitrogen than the cows, any other large mammals. But it doesn't take as long to break down as a cow. But man, Dwight said he just made it back down to his Mexico home.
Oh, that's cool. Like how many? That's a hot time of year to choose. Though. Yeah. Like I would go to the cold place. Like
during the summertime.
Yeah.
How long were you there in Mexico?
And like how long? Like what is your rotation? I'm curious.
Once my male quail matures, they are the noise. Yeah.
That's what I heard. Because I have a girlfriend that has quail. Yeah, large quails.
She raises the jumbo
quail. Real jumbo quails.
Yeah, they are huge.
Yeah, there's people out there that say they got jumbos and they're not big like hers.
Yeah. But their nitrogen is great. They're great meat source. Those and rabbits, I think you could do within 6 to 8 weeks of harvesting if you.
Yeah, G-Mom Bros. I got some jokes.
But I mean, those are once again because we don't know what's going to be coming on. So we actually did all of this by accident. Like I said, we started off as foodies. We started off with egg layers, then. Went to the meat birds, and then we went to rabbits.
Sustainable meat birds, heritage.
Yeah, then we went to rabbits. Then one of our neighbors across the way, their ducks would come onto our property and lay some eggs, and their eggs was amazing. So I was like, man, let me look up where I can get me some ducks of our own.
Yeah, we never had duck eggs until those like eggs that they started laying here. Like
yeah.
So we've had a really interesting journey as foodies.
Yeah. And then so went from there. Then last year around this time, we got our sheep. Next week will be the first whole full year that we had our sheep.
We got 2 babies that were born this past week.
Yeah. So
July 3rd and yesterday morning.
Yeah, yesterday. So our 2, well, they're not ours, but 2 of the sheep had babies. Hopefully Sugar will have her baby. I think
we only knew that Sugar was pregnant.
Yeah.
The other 2 we had no idea.
Because they're wool sheep.
Yeah, so these 2 babies, we did not know that they were even pregnant.
Yeah, so but it was amazing because I was on my way to work and
he was screaming out there, babe.
Yeah, I didn't see him, and so I normally go sheep, 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 and here they come running, and all of a sudden I see this little thing. I'm like,
I heard him saying sheep, 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 sheep,
and then I saw them coming up. I was like, oh my gosh, that babe! I was almost late to work because I was up there looking at the baby and son. But she's both of them are great moms.
They're like they're feeding them, they're taking care of them.
Yeah, they're very tentative of them and everything. One kind of get paranoid when they see us looking at the baby, trying to like, what do I do? What do I do?
It's funny since the second one was born because they look so different. They're both from the Shetland sheeps, and they definitely paired up with different baby daddies. Just looking at the babies, they're so different.
So no, I'm right at the beach. It's 70. Oh,
nice.
It really gets.
That's how Hawaii was. That's how it was when I was in Hawaii.
I've had this house for 15 years, and summer is its place because it's much cooler than back in my. Oh nice. Man, that is awesome.
Congratulations.
Don't you want to invite some content creators to come out there and help you out with the, doing
Do you need help in the garden there? That's cool.
More number said, I want another shed for rabbits and raccoons. Ooh, man. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. I feel your pain because when we first got our rabbits, some dogs came in, some people, neighbors or people around here.
Hardwire cloth is your friend. Hardware cloth is your friend.
Yeah, that's why I built that thing, and I built our rabbit hutch without any plans. I was just like, I need to hurry and build something, need to do something because it was so frustrating. I had many nights. I think most days I was going to bed like 2 a.m.
He was always like, because the rabbits, like our bedroom window is right there, and he's always like, I would see him pop up, and he's like always peeking through the window. It did cause us some sleepless.
Yeah, and it was good because I built it in one weekend, and
it pushed you to do it.
By the time I got done and with everything, the dogs came back and
we saw them on our cameras.
Yeah, and I couldn't get out there fast enough. By the time I got out there, they were gone. But
they realized they weren't getting anything.
Jealous.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the ideal weather is anywhere from 50 to about 70 degree.
I'm curious, Dwight, because you weren't here earlier when we were talking about this, but I did just get back from Hawaii where my daughter's at, and the weather's like beautiful like that. But they did like she knows, and she was born in Texas, so she already had like an AC unit in her like actual room. But like the rest of the house, like the living room, didn't have that. Do you have AC or you go without?
Or central air?
Yeah, because like Hawaii, both of my kids, like I have one in Seattle and one in Hawaii, and those areas do not do AC, like central units.
Yeah. Even when I was stationed in Montana and North Dakota, actually, they didn't have central air because they wasn't used to it. And so my first time in Montana, the first summer there was like late June, and it was like mid 80s, and they were like, "Oh, it's so hot." Oh, fine.
Those of us that come from Texas, we are spoiled about central air units. We really are.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I'm hoping to build a greenhouse with quote. Okay, cool. Speaking of that, I hope everyone stays safe out there. Don't push yourself on being out into this heat, because especially if you're in Texas, we're in Northeast Texas, zone 8. It is about to get into triple digits. Make sure you hydrate. That's what I've been doing here. I've
been like making our relight, the Redmond relight, which we do have discount codes for if it's on your. But that's the only way that we've been surviving in this heat, has been drinking the mineral relight.
The water.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I make it in a 2-gallon thing and just pour it over ice.
Yeah, I think I with this heat and this Redmond Real Light, I think I probably drink more than a gallon a day, because it's basically putting that natural salt, unrefined salt, back into your body, along with other minerals.
Manganese.
Manganese, potassium, phosphorus, all that good mineral stuff into your body.
Oh, I was curious about that, Dwight. I'm glad you're answering that. Ooh. I would at least have a window unit on those days, sir. Yeah, at least. I don't know how I do that.
74 degrees now. A couple of weeks ago, nine. Where are you located at? More numbers back home, Washington State or Washington?
Yeah, because my son is in Seattle. It's not that like.
Yeah, because I did a TDY there at McCord at the Joint Base there, and
I think he's up near Virginia.
Is he?
I want to say.
Okay.
I might be wrong. Prove me
Morris,
wrong.
Michigan. Okay. Man, I bet y'all have good weather right now. But yeah, that
Lifesaver, the relight. Oh my god.
Yeah, be safe, everyone. Make sure you hydrate. If you're feeling yourself getting lightheaded, even when Mrs. Nikki Gardner was in Hawaii, she was surprised I was out there doing stuff, but I was taking breaks. I would be out there for an hour, come in for about an hour.
I did make a big thing of the relight mix because I knew he was going to do some stuff. I made it for him ahead.
Yeah. My other house so Washington State.
Okay. And I'm wondering, like, how far is that? Like, obviously, I could look at a map, Dwight, but I'm not right now. Like, I'm wondering if that where's that location from Seattle? I'm planning to go out there probably October-ish.
For Daniel's birthday.
For Daniel.
Cool. But yeah. So if y'all have any more questions about composting or anything of that nature, please do not hesitate to hit us up on Instagram, email us. Those are the best ways. Or you can go to Facebook. If for those that still kind of trust Facebook, we are on almost all social media platforms that I could think of.
Instagram is the best direct conversation question area for us, honestly.
Okay, Kima is dead center about 100.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but with all this rain at the early part of the year, I mean, our garden has basically took over, and now we got grass and weeds galore. I mean, our tomatoes are doing good. I think I probably transplanted a lot of these peppers a little bit too early.
I'm on my second batch of pickles right now that are actually processing right now.
Yeah, the cucumbers are just now taking off with this heat, which I'm surprising. We're going to saturate the garden tonight so that way we can put up our shade cloth because the tomatoes, these leaves are looking kind of stressed out, and we're not trying to have these tomato hornworms coming out. We've been seeing a lot of frogs lately this year.
A lot more frogs than I've ever seen. But we did have a lot of wet weather here. And this year, I went ahead and bought another shade cloth because we have expanded our garden enough that what we had is not enough anymore. So we're going to have to put up two sections. We're having to expand that too.
Yeah, because like I was saying, that the peppers, you want to make sure. I should have known. I'm kicking myself in the butt for that, but I should have waited till the soil temperature was at least about in the 60s, and I think it was still kind of in the 50s. So a lot of the peppers are still kind of stunted right now.
Dwight, I know that I usually see your messages on YouTube. I don't know if you are on Instagram. Inbox us on our Instagram account. The best way to contact you, because that would be really cool.
They're out in Michigan. I've got frogs everywhere, but lots of lakes, ponds. And see, I think because we had strange, enormous amounts of rain this year,
mm-hmm.
I think that's why all the frogs are out. I mean,
it's
love
way
it that
more than I've seen the entire time we've lived here.
Yeah, I love that they're in our garden because hopefully they get big enough to eat up all the locusts and grasshoppers, because that's always been our nemesis pest that we can't get rid of.
I just started noticing them yesterday.
Yeah. And we had so many frogs. One snuck into the house last night.
I was like, what?
We were eating dinner, And I saw something go hopping across. I go, what was that, a frog? She's like, huh? I didn't see anything. So I went over there, and sure enough, the frog snuck into
and
the
it's
house.
hanging out by the front door, like it misses the air conditioning. It's still over there.
It's been crazy. Hopefully, this year, these frogs will at least stay in the garden and pertain to that.
We're very welcoming of them, the dream weaver, the orb weaver, spiders. I'll like feed them insects. Like I love like our natural, like pest control, because we don't like, this will be the second year that we haven't even used the organic stuff.
Yeah, we haven't used any type of sprays. I mean, the only sprays that we actually used was either compost tea or worm tea on our garden. And that's not really a pesticide, but it's introducing good bacteria to your plants, which most of these insects kind of don't like.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. It's above his grade. I always say that because now that I'm back working and patients ask me questions, I'm like, that's above my pay grade. That's why I got a doctor here.
Yeah, I'm glad that cucumbers are taking off. We've been so busy this year. We didn't get a lot of stuff planted like we wanted to.
This year I was comparing two cucumbers, the Persian and the Boston, because like I've been a Persian fan. This is like, I don't know if it's because of all the rain we had, whatever happened, the Bostons are kicking the Persians' butt.
Yeah. And we've actually had to buy a lot of starts this year because we just got so far behind. Luckily, there's and then we have a video kind of explaining about it coming out tomorrow. But luckily, they have a local nursery has very, very cheap, inexpensive starts. Oh my goodness! But nothing beats.
It's a private local. That's why we go. When we buy starts, the private local in our growing zone.
But nothing beats starting your plants from seeds and stuff. But sometimes you have to get the starts and kind of go from there.
You got to always learn to pivot and be okay with that.
Yeah. But is there any questions for us? Comments?
We will answer post this video. If you put any questions below, we will answer that.
Any videos you would like to see us do more of? If you want to see more of the animal content, like Mrs. Nikki Gardner was saying, that's on our other channel. So that way we kind of focus more on the gardening aspect.
Yeah, it's Farmer Sydney.
Yeah.
And I have Miss Naked Gardener because I'm basically like, for me, it's easy to just do whatever I'm doing in one spot.
Yeah. Eric Taylor said, great topic. Thank you for sharing.
I appreciate you for stopping by. Thank you.
I appreciate everyone's time, spending time with us. You had anything that you could be doing, but you decided to spend a little bit of time with us.
On a Saturday.
We try to keep our lives short because we know that we value your time, and we also have to do other things as well.
We specifically timed this live before we're about to go out to do all of our evening chores.
Luckily, it's a little bit cooler, and now we get to spend some time with the little baby sheep.
Oh, they're so cute. They're so cute.
And the piglets, or they're not really piglets anymore. They're
on my channel. I'll be sharing a reel very soon showing the babies and some of my humor regarding them here soon. I
have a wildlife sanctuary. I think much is covered and use cayenne powder for rabbits, deer. Some live traps to relocate and caught one.
I know. I was like, I couldn't read that without cringing. Thank you.
I really want to know how you was able to do that. Were you scared to get sprayed?
I don't want to know. Like, I don't, but
no, I want to know just if that happened to us, because what if we had to do that and you would just keep it in the cage? What?
Oh, it'd be all you, boo. Because I'm real quick to. I'm very quick to be like.
Yeah. But thanks again, everyone. If there's nothing else and don't have any more comments, we will see y'all on the next live, which would be in August.
Ooh,
My
his
birthday month.
Yeah.
When I turn 30. Be
Yeah.
August 3rd. Same bat time, same bat channel. I've had a lot of videos to kick out. Like I said, I've been editing slowly but surely. Mrs. been gone away, so I've mostly been focused on that. But now that
When
she's
I'm
here,
on the computer here, it's not for editing. It's I work from home when I'm not traveling, doing eye exams places. So.
Yeah. So I got, like I said, I got one video coming out tomorrow, and for the Naked Gardener channel talking about our garden. And then I got 2 videos about
animal stuff,
our pigs, and I forgot about the other one, but yeah, cool. Towel and trash bag over quickly over.
Okay, that sounds about how I'd redneck it too.
All right, guys, I appreciate y'all once again. Thank y'all for coming out. God bless and good night. Until the next video, let's grow together.
Night, Dwight.